Are you feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about how to scale your business sustainably? Do you have big dreams for your business, but you're struggling to turn them into reality? Or maybe you're just tired of sacrificing your health, your well being, time with your family, and your own self care all in the pursuit of success. Not only is this not sustainable, but it can lead to increased stress and decreased productivity in the long run. Don't let the chaos of running a business hold you back any longer. Join our 12-month Real Women, Real Business Mastery program and start building the business of your dreams with clarity and confidence. If you're ready to achieve six-figure plus revenue growth, rediscover your passion for your business, and say goodbye to overwork, then let's chat. Book a free business planning session at aboutshaunalynn.com/plan. Check out the link in the show notes. Hello and welcome to the Real Women, Real Business podcast. I am your host, Shauna Lynn Simon, and today I want to talk about some productivity hacks for you as the busy entrepreneur. So I've got 6 important hacks to share with you. They're quick and easy to implement. You can implement them today, but they're going to help you to achieve more, work more efficiently, and gain better focus on your tasks. So let's get started. The first productivity hack that I have for you is actually almost like a little bit of an oxymoron, and that is to take breaks. This is huge. So by taking a break, you actually increase your focus. Your body needs to have that rest. Your brain needs to have that rest. So it refreshes you physically, it refreshes you mentally. So this could mean, maybe standing up and stretching a little bit at your desk. If you're someone who sits at a desk, maybe you're stopping to grab a cup of tea or coffee. Perhaps you're even getting a little bit of activity by going for a walk. That would be amazing if you can do that. Activity is always great, not only for your mental health, but again, for your physical health as well. Maybe you're getting in a quick workout, or even if it's just playtime with the kids. I mean, for myself, I am a crazy cat lady. I've got a house full of cats pretty much at any time. So a lot of times for me, my breaks are as simple as just spend a few minutes being in the moment, snuggling with my kitties. There's really, it doesn't need to be overly complex to be effective. So whatever it is, whatever you want it to be, make sure you're taking these breaks. There is a misconception that powering through is better, but here's the thing. So think of it this way. Let's say you think to yourself, okay, if I just power through, I'm going to get all this stuff done. It's only going to take me, let's say you say it's going to take me another hour of work. I'll just sit here and I'll power through for it. In reality, you could probably go and take a 15-minute break, come back and complete what you needed to complete in 45 minutes, because you're going to be that much better focused and refreshed, and it's going to be much more effective and efficient. Not to mention the quality of the work that you produce is actually most likely going to be greater. So this is something to take into consideration when you want to power through. It's a really big reminder that I use for myself constantly, because even I need my reminders as well. So then that's productivity hack number 1 is take breaks. Productivity hack number 2 is video and or voice notes. So basically what I'm saying is, rather than typing, for greater efficiency, for greater ease, for better time constraints or dealing with time constraints, send a voice note or a video note to explain something. Not only do most people tend to speak faster than they can type, but typing is just not a natural form of communication. So it's really easy to lose your train of thought as you're typing. You might miss certain thoughts or ideas, and it can be really difficult to communicate the intended tone of the message. You might also misspell something or use the wrong word in typing, and that can actually change the entire context of what it is that you're trying to say. I know that there's been many misunderstandings in my life simply because you have the word can instead of can't, or do instead of don't, or just forgot, a punctuation somewhere. Punctuation is very key when it comes to written communication, of course. So what does this look like? What do I mean by sending a voice or a video note? Okay, so if it's something that you need to maybe share with your team members, let's say you want to show them a process of some sort, that's great to do as a screen share video. There are other times, sometimes one of my team members will send me a document and say, hey, can you review this? I will open up that document, I will do a screen share, and I will record myself going through the document and providing my feedback along the way. This is really easy for my team members to then follow along with behind the scenes. So once I send it to them, they can, pause it and rewind it, as opposed to like having a one-on-one meeting with them. It's actually a lot easier for them. And again, I can definitely speak faster than I can type. So there's a lot of great apps out there for doing the screen shares. Loom is one of them. Screen Rec is another one. But you might also have your own internal platforms that already utilize this as well. Now, with voice notes, if you don't necessarily need to share your screen, a voice note is a great, simple way to be able to respond to messages. This works especially well if you have employees that are maybe working like out on the road. Maybe they're constantly in between appointments. Maybe they're driving and it's easier for them to be able to send a voice note while they're driving. Most messaging apps, whether it's a regular text message, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, iMessage, Slack, Microsoft Teams, most of these are going to give you the ability to be able to send an audio message as opposed to a text message. I love the app Voxer. If you haven't checked it out, it's essentially an audio app. Great way to have a conversation. But here's what sending these voice notes or these video notes will do. It will help you to, first of all, reduce the number of meetings that you need. So instead of having to schedule something into your calendar and disrupt your flow to take a break to have that meeting, you can respond to messages on your own timeline. You can respond to them at a time that's most convenient for you with the proper tone and in somewhat real time. I have conversations sometimes with colleagues of mine back and forth throughout the day, and we've had an entire conversation. We can feel what the other person is saying. We can, sort of feel their tone, and we've had this entire conversation, but at no point was it ever actually live, which is great, but it's still very real. It also allows the person on the other end, especially if you're talking with team members, this is especially important, and especially if you are the boss, which most likely you are. Sometimes the way that we say things, as a busy entrepreneur, it's not uncommon for us to say things sometimes very quickly and rushed. And so we get to the point quickly sometimes. And that could come across as being abrupt, or perhaps it might even come across as though we are upset in some way, when in reality, we're just saving time. So by doing a voice note or a video note, it allows the person on the other end to hear the inflections in your voice and get a better context. We can often provide clear communication and are less likely to miss details when we do it this way. So one word of caution that I will say with regards to doing voice notes and or video notes is that the one advantage that I would say that email and text messaging has is that it allows us to be more thoughtful with the words that we choose. It's not uncommon for us to reread an email or a text message before we're sending it, especially if we want to be especially careful with the language that we're using and the way that we're phrasing something. Now, of course, that is definitely more time consuming to type it out, to read it and reread it before we send it. But in certain circumstances, that may be the best way to do it. Even though it's a little bit more time consuming, it often does actually assist with the greater good, so to speak. So if you're dealing with perhaps a stressful situation, or a very sensitive and delicate matter, consider typing that response as opposed to sending a voice note, just to ensure that you're being very thoughtful with your responses. Okay, so productivity hack number 3, email templates. So this is standardized email templates. I don't know about you, but I personally absolutely despise duplicating my efforts. Once I've done something once, I want to know that I can easily replicate it without having to put the same thought into it. I don't like rethinking things. So you've probably sent the same type of email response to a client or to a prospective client or to a supplier numerous times. So create an email template for it. So for example, if you are maybe someone who purchases products and you're sending POs to your suppliers constantly, and every PO you're saying, please ensure that communication is sent to this, please confirm in hand state, please confirm X, Y, and Z, please see this. Here's our payment method. Like if you're constantly saying the same thing in those emails over and over and over again, having a standardized email template allows you to ensure that you're not forgetting anything. So if you've ever done this, and I think probably most of us have you ever gone searching through your sent items to say like, oh, I know I sent this exact response or answered this exact question previously. Now, what was the subject heading for that? Or who did I send it to? So you're trying to find it in your sent items. If you've ever done that, you understand exactly what I mean by the value of these standardized email templates. So if you don't already have these for any sort of recurring responses, this is a super easy productivity win to start on today. Because here's what I want you to do. The next time you're sending one of those emails, I want you to simply copy and paste that exact email. Don't worry about whether or not it's perfect. Don't worry about if you've got some blanks to fill in still. Don't worry if you got the person's name in there by mistake. It's a start at least. You can work to refine it. So start with a base sort of template. So for things like an initial inquiry that might come into your company asking you about your services or products, maybe you're sending out proposals, maybe it's follow-ups, maybe it's some frequently asked questions. Anything that you find yourself responding to a second or third time merits having a standardized email template. Now, to figure out the tech side of this, the technology, it really doesn't need to be that complicated. It can be as simple as a Google document, or perhaps the CRM program that you're already using has a feature already built into it. So then the next time you send an email, it's as simple as a copy and paste, put it into this document, put it into this home that it's going to live in. You can share it with the rest of your team members, encourage them to build up your library of these templates as well. And it will save you all from overthinking things. Another way that this really works well is if you have listened to my previous episode about crafting your marketing message and my 6-step Sell Smart system, you know the importance of the words that we use. So if any of these emails have any sort of sales type element to them, it's important that we ensure that we are speaking in the language and the brand voice that we have worked so hard to develop. So ensuring that we are adding some little sales lines. Of course, we want to make it conversational, most likely still, you want to add your voice to it, but having your primary, secondary, and tertiary messages kind of at your fingertips to be able to plug into these emails is super helpful as well. So it allows you to ensure, having these email templates allows you to ensure that across your team, you're sending consistent messaging, that you're not missing important details, and that the tone aligns with your brand and communicates the value that you provide. All right, so that's productivity hack number 3, standardized email templates. Productivity hack number 4 is having a social media system. And this is something, I don't know about you, but I'm always amazed by the people who just get so much joy out of posting to social media and curating those posts. Because I got to tell you, I will say that I think in terms of posts, I will be doing something like, oh, I'd love to share this with my audience. I'd love to, put this out there. But then I get kind of caught up sometimes in so I've got to, take this photo or take this video, and then I've got to do the editing of it. And then I got to figure out what I want to say and figure out my hashtags. And then I got to schedule it. And, all that can feel a little bit daunting at times. So if you create a bit of a system behind the scenes to make it feel a little less daunting, it will make things a lot easier for being able to be consistent on your social media. So this is not exactly rocket science. This is not a new concept. But it's actually pretty amazing how many people are still not using some sort of calendar system to pre-plan their content and even schedule it out in advance as much as possible. I will admit that some of the platforms, especially like Instagram, is very difficult to schedule out in advance to have all the links and the hashtags and any mentions that you want in it. But you can still pre-plan them at the very least. Pre-planning can be as simple as a Word document or a Google Doc or a spreadsheet of some sort. If you use a project management system like ClickUp, as I do, you might put it in there. That's where I put all of my stuff. You can also just use some sort of scheduling app. There's a lot of great programs out there like Sprout Social, Hootsuite, where you can plan out your content and schedule it through that actual platform. You'll also want to have some sort of guideline, though, as to how you want your posts to be layered and rolled out. So, for example, I like doing Wellness Wednesday posts. I don't necessarily do one every single Wednesday, but I do like to have that mixed into things. Maybe you want to have your testimonial show up, say, every 9 posts, or maybe you want to do a feature Friday or a tip Tuesday, or whatever it is that you've decided that you want to incorporate into your brand. It's a good idea to have that documented well as well. And then you can plan your calendar out accordingly, especially if things are intended to land on a specific day. It doesn't necessarily like day of the week, like if it's a Wednesday or a Monday, or again, every 9 posts or something. Now, so you've got your scheduling, you've got your content calendar planned out, you've got your scheduling app so you can actually post them up. And on that scheduling app, like I said, there's a few that are out there. You can also post, instead of doing the scheduling app, you can also do it directly through the platforms. Most platforms will allow you to pre-schedule your content on them. Not all of them, but most of them. But then the other thing that I wanted to note, because this comes up for me all the time, is having some sort of way. I just mentioned earlier that sometimes, I'll be out somewhere and I'll say like, oh, this will make a great social media post. Maybe I even have a little bit of the post content and text in my head of like what I actually want to say on it. So I want to make sure that I'm capturing either what the overall theme is going to be, or specifically the ideas that I have for what I want to say. So having some sort of notes app or system where you can easily log those. Maybe it's as simple as, we already talked about voice notes. Maybe you're sending a voice note to yourself and doing a little voice memo on your phone, or maybe it's in the notes app that you have in your phone. I love Evernote. I think that's a great app for being able to just jot down ideas quickly, but figure out what works best for you. When a great idea strikes you, you want to be able to have an easy way to log it and capture it so that you don't forget it. But not only that, because this is, of course, especially handy when you're out somewhere and you don't have easy access to be able to write it down. But even if you are, say, at your computer and you're like, oh, I'll just go and do that post right now. Well, now you've diverted your focus. So by having some sort of notes app where you can just document it, put it aside, and come back to it later, will allow you to maintain that state of flow and that focus that you've already established. Okay, so then my next tip number 5, productivity hack number 5, is as simple as a password keeper. So what is a password keeper? It is a very secure way to store your passwords. So I will tell you right now, if you've got your passwords saved on an Excel spreadsheet or on a sticky note or a notebook in your desk somewhere, this is not a secure way to be storing your passwords. Now, you might also say, okay, well, I can store all my passwords directly in, say, Google, or if you're an iPhone user, obviously our password, it's a password system like directly built into our phone that will save our passwords, but it's not the most user-friendly when you need to find a password. The other thing is that you can only save passwords in there. So where password keeper comes in handy is it actually helps you in a number of ways. First of all, instead of having to remember all your passwords or have them stored in a super unsecure place like an Excel spreadsheet, you're going to remember exactly one password that gets you into the password keeper. Now, once in that password keeper, you can store passwords, but you can also store things like credit card information, social security number, your insurance policy information, anything that you feel is a little sensitive that you don't want the average person to be able to find, but you want to be able to access and store it securely. The other thing that most password keepers will do is they will help you to create secure passwords. I will tell you that my computer stuff is pretty difficult to hack. I am not putting a challenge out there to anyone, but I have secure passwords created that have the combination of upper and lower case, numbers, symbols, everything that it needs. And they're not passwords that I would just naturally remember. In fact, I don't remember any of my passwords pretty much because of the password keeper. So I recommend using one if you can find one that syncs to multiple devices. Most of them do these days. You may have to pay a small fee for that part of it, but it makes it really handy to allow you to have those passwords on all of your devices. So whether you're on your phone or on your laptop or your tablet or whatever. But the great thing about these password keepers is that they are encrypted and they do require a password to access it. So instead of remembering hundreds and hundreds of passwords, all you got to do is remember one. Okay, so let's see now. We're down to our sixth and final productivity hack. If you are finding, there's some days where it's really difficult sometimes just to get that motivation to get going and you feel like you're a little bit stuck, you're in a little bit of a rut. So productivity hack number 6 is to change your surroundings. I used to call Starbucks my satellite office, and I would spend days working there sometimes, especially for those who don't know, I operate an interior design company. And while I don't actually produce the design drawings myself anymore, there was a time that I did. And sometimes producing those could be really difficult to do in my own home, in my own surroundings, and I needed to kind of shake things up a little bit. So in those cases, I would head out to the coffee shop and sit there, spend hours there. And it's amazing how productive I could be. So just working in a new location can really break up that monotony and help to stimulate fresh thinking and creative ideas. So if you've got maybe a problem you've been stuck on, changing your surroundings can really help with that as well. Wherever that changing your surroundings is, it doesn't necessarily even have to be out of your house. I've talked about my, quote unquote satellite office, which is a great way to do things. If you can go somewhere, maybe it's even going to a local park if you don't need Wi-Fi, of course, or if you can, I guess you can hotspot it. But perhaps it's as simple as just changing your surroundings within your own home. That's also an option as well. So you might even schedule specific days of the week that you want to work from a different location. That's, a lot of co-working spaces are designed this way where you can book it, say every Wednesday, I'm going to go work in this co-working space. But if you are going to work remotely, as in by remotely, I mean outside of your home office, if you're normally in a home office, outside of your corporate office, if you're in, more of a commercial type space, if you are going to do this, make sure that you are prepared. You want to ensure that you have any of the necessary tools that you're going to need. So you need a laptop. Do you need a charger? Do you need to have some sort of portable Wi-Fi in order to be able to do what you need to do? Changing up your surroundings can play an important role in helping to reduce your mental fatigue. And mental fatigue is a huge productivity killer. So maybe the kids kept you up last night and you're a little extra tired today. And so you find yourself lagging a little bit after lunch. So maybe after lunch, you grab your laptop and you go find a new place to work. It'll give your brain a bit of a break from the routine, and that helps to restore energy and concentration. It can help to really also rejuvenate your motivation for a particular task, maybe that you've been dreading for some time. And it can help to improve the concentration. So this is just changing up your surroundings seems like such a simple thing to do. And I know that it's not always easy to do. I mean, for example, at my home office, I have the dual screens, and I enjoy having that larger monitor to be able to do my work on. So I don't really enjoy traveling with my laptop for any extended period of time, but to do it for an afternoon, fantastic. It's great to change up things a little bit. Make sure that wherever you go, though, that you're going to have minimal disruptions as well. If you are someone here like, I'm good with a whole bunch of surrounding noise, provided they don't actually stop me from doing things, fantastic. If you're someone who needs more quiet, something to take into consideration as well. Oh, the other tool that you should probably take if you're going to be changing up your surroundings is headphones. So I enjoy being able to put my classical music on, and so I'll just pop my earbuds in, and that does help to drown out the noise surrounding me. Okay, so those are my top 6 productivity hacks that you can actually start implementing today. That's the beauty of these things. That's why we call them hacks, because they're so easy to get started. They don't require a lot of thinking or planning or even trying to create a brand new habit that takes some time to build. These are things that honestly you can start implementing right away. Now, I talked previously about time management tips and strategies. If you want to get more time management tips and strategies, simply go to aboutshaunalynn.com/time and check out the PDF that I have there for you with my top time management tips and strategies. Okay, that's what I've got for you this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. If what I'm saying here is resonating with you, then I truly hope that you will tune in again next week and allow me to continue to be a part of your journey. And if you really want to show your support for the Real Women, Real Business podcast, share this episode with someone that you know can benefit from it. That is the best way that you can show them support and that you can show us support all at the same time. Don't forget to leave us a review and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, keep thriving.